right, so welcome, Lucia. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your journey with so many women who, like yourself, are on that, what can seem like a very long, challenging road to fertility success. You have birthed the two most adorable girls, your beautiful twins. Just share a little bit about what you went through. It was a long journey for you, and I know you look incredibly young for your age, but you're not as young as you look, so it's not something to do with age. It really, I feel your journey came down to surrender and really activating that feminine energy.
Beautiful introduction, Fiona. Thank you very much, and thank you for having me. I have a lot of respect for life and work that you do, and for yourself as well. So it kind of bouncing genuinely back to you, all this compliment. You do amazing work with women, and you've done amazing work with me as well. Fiona has been very supportive and a big part of my journey. I want to give you a lot of encouragement and genuinely share this story, because there has been moments, in many moments in my journey, which was 11 years for us, where I was at the bottom of the bottom, where I really felt that there is no way through with me being a mom one day, someday. So I'm going to share it all with you. Yes, miracles happen, and miracle happened to me, and I'm extremely grateful. But I want to say at the very beginning, it is possible, and it's completely, totally possible for all of us. Okay, it's not that I'm special, or you know, that those women who after a long time have a babies are more than others who don't. It's not like that. Like, we all deserve it, and it's totally possible for you also, no matter what circumstance you are in, please. Okay, so that's what I want to say at the beginning.
Excellent. Yes, good point. So 12 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So let's start. 12 years ago, you were busy focusing on your career and simultaneously trying for a baby, which so many women do try to juggle. So let's hand the mic over to you and just hear about where you were at mentally, emotionally, your focus. Were you 100% focused on the baby, or 50-50 because you had to juggle your career, you know, living in different countries, all that kind of stuff comes into play. So
yeah. So it's a very long story. I will try to concise it somehow. That, you know, like every young woman, when I started for a baby, I was very excited. That the idea is like, oh my God, there is a possibility I'm going to be like pregnant next month. That was like very exciting. I remember the day when I decided to come off the pill, and I remember I was like floating above the ground, because I was like so excited. And then that first month came and nothing happened, and it's like, okay, well, you know, next month came, nothing happened. And actually a lot of my clients saying the very same thing, right? Like it's a like month after month, and first you don't think anything of it, you're still excited. But for me, after about, I don't know, maybe after about a year, I started getting a little bit like, you know, is it should it be now, or you know, I should go and get some checks or something. But I still wasn't making a big deal out of it, because I was thinking, okay, you know, there's plenty time, you just keep on practicing, it's quite nice to practice. Yeah, I was quite lighthearted about it. So I went to GP and they done checks and hormones, you know, the basic things, and I still didn't think anything of it. Everything was fine. And at the time, there was no mention of fertility clinic. You know, it was a long time ago, and I was fairly young. At the moment, I'm almost 40, right? So I was still, you know, in an age where I was like, okay, you know, it's late 20s, it's still a good age. Yeah, so, you know, and funnily enough, I was with a different partner at the time. And I kind of chose holistic way. So I first was doing what many women do, I think, at first, which is like kind of natural medicine, you know, vitamins and healthy lifestyle and yoga and meditations and breathing. That was my first choice, because I was kind of bred this way. And you know, then it went to, then as time went on, actually, I split up with my partner, and then I was like, okay, it wasn't meant to be. At that time, the only thing they found is, I had a little surgery when they had to remove a little bit of my cervix. So I was thinking, is there anything to do with that? And, and that was fine. But then I remember at the very beginning, when I was still with my ex-partner, he was Australian, by the way, and bless him, he's got baby himself now. And in one moment, I went for a checkup, which was normal checkup, and they said to me, I've got like inside of my womb, the bottom part down here, like half of it is completely blocked by I can't
Fibroid.
think. Fibroid. Yeah. And I was really shocked, and they said to me, well, you can get pregnant, but you've got a 50% chance because 50% of it is blocked, and we can remove it, but if we remove it, you get pregnant easier, but you might not be able to carry the baby all the way, or there's a higher risk because we will interfere into the womb and it won't be as strong, and blah blah. So I was like, no, don't touch me, I will keep on trying. But I started doing I think in that point quite a bit more of a mind work, of self-healing practices and so on. And miraculously, just the day when I was supposed to go and be checked 2 months later after diagnosed, in Harley Clinic, my at the time partner was diagnosed that we are completely incompatible as a couple, and so infertile. And at the time I thought we will spend the rest of our life together. So my life crashed. There was 11 o'clock in the morning, and then 2 o'clock in the afternoon I had Harley Clinic checkup after 2 months, and they checked me and they said, we can't see anything. And I said, no, please check it, it's there, like, look, I've got a photo. I had a scan. And they said, no, it's nothing. They done an internal scan. And I think I asked about 9 times, because it is impossible. It can't disappear. They told me it can't disappear. Like, I tried, but and they said, no, really, it's clear. So that was my first mini miracle, I think, where I experienced myself like self-healing capabilities. And I'm not calling myself a healer, but I know it is possible, right? So ladies, if for lesson number 1, if the doctors will tell you this and that, remember, it's just the doctor. It's not the God. He's not deciding about your future. He is not writing off your future in any way, unless you firmly believe and you actually absorb it as a ultimate truth. That
Exactly.
way, right?
Yeah, if you give your power away to those words, then that's your choice.
Yeah.
But if you decide, you know what, it doesn't matter what they're telling me, I know I can still have this happy, healthy baby or babies, and I'm going to be fine. And with the right mental attitude, because the mind has a map of the body, you will change your physiology, and it happens every single time. We have a whole new body every 7 years. Every single cell is completely different. So if we can change the mindset, which creates a framework, the template of the body will move to the template that we have in our mind. And I love that part of your story.
Amen to that. So please, I beg you girls, don't sign yourself off on the basis of, the test results. There are numbers. Yes, I mean, it's fact. Medicine is important and it can save our life in many, many ways. I don't, knock that down one little bit. However, what is up here, it is just like Fiona said, it's so important, how we receive the information and how we choose to work with that information. I promised Fiona to be authentic. And that was something that, I mentioned that part of my cervix has been taking off. That was also a nervous period of my life because it was sent to biopsy and I had to wait for a little bit. I was very young at the time. And 10 years later, I went to doctor in a different country. I'm not going to call any names, or again, this is just my story. It's nothing to do with reliability of doctors or anything like that. But, you know, I went for a check on recommendation of someone, and because I was doing everything holistic and Chinese and acupuncture, you name it, everything under the earth that I knew of that can possibly help me somewhere, courses, mindset, you know, the chronosexual therapy, tantra, you know, I really, this journey was so rich for my everything who I became, that I want to mention later on, that it shaped me so beautifully. I wouldn't have it any other way. But back to my story. When I went through doctor's route after 10 years after this cervix operation, I went to the doctor who, I've got a feeling now retrospectively, wanted just a little bit of money, and he blew up the little scar that I had still there, and he suggested a surgery. Now, girls, this surgery was without anesthetics. It was on the table, raw, and it was one of the most painful things I had and done. It was not long, it was only about 10-15 minutes. However, what I want to share with you is that the pain that I had during the surgery and afterwards the whole day was extremely important. The reason being is that the pain I was feeling during that surgery was very important to remind me the pain that I was feeling when I was a very young girl, where I had very different relationship with myself and my body, and allowed men to treat me differently, right? And that pain during the surgery reminded me of this time, and reminded me, it just kind of like pressed the button and allowed me to heal, to come back and to heal that very important part of my life. Forgiveness towards that person happened already, but one thing I forgot to forgive was myself. And so my physical pain was a reminder of that, and that was another stepping stone on my journey towards motherhood, that I, thanks to this wrong choice of a doctor and really terrible experience, which was painful physically, but 110 times more painful emotionally, because it reminded me those times. That was so important for me, because the healing process started, and I could never explain. I came back home, it was in my mom's town, and I kept on crying and crying and crying and crying, and people been asking me, like, is it hurting so much? And I said, no, it's not hurting. It was hurting, but emotional, I just had to cry and cry and cry and cry and cry more. And I kept on saying to everyone, please let me cry. Please let me cry. Don't worry, I'm fine. I just need this. If you make a wrong choice, I chose the wrong hospital, or I went to wrong doctor, or I've done something that harmed my body in the past, took contraception, or, you know, I used to take contraception. Please don't think about it as something wrong you've done. Are courageous and brave enough to go back to that place. Yes, it smells. Yes, it's painful. It's horrendous when we come back. But the reward on the other side is really freedom.
Yeah, it's so true. It's letting go of that shadow, isn't it? That you carry around, that darkness inside. And you don't want to have children holding on to that trauma. You want to dissolve it. You want to clear it so that they don't have to process it.
That's right.
The root is still in that victim mentality, where someone has taken advantage of you and caused you immense pain and suffering, physical, emotional, mental. And it's about you reclaiming your power. And I see it as well with other clients. Some women who have had issues with being abused, they find it very difficult in their current relationships, trying to overcome the sexual side of things. Another client of mine, I remember she would have horrendous experiences seeing gynecologists, or just getting her GP to do a general pap smear, and it would just be the most horrendous stories. It would trigger a lot for her to keep bringing up these past traumas. And it wasn't until she was able to face them, process those emotions, dissolve them, and then they're not a painful point anymore. Like you say, it's here to be healed and to self-heal again. We are our own healers, and we can do that. And that's what you've shown again, how you were able to self-heal.
Yeah. And it takes courage, and it is a process. It doesn't happen like that. But I've got so much respect, and more women choosing this, healing path, and are brave enough to pick up the phone to you or to me, and to actually say, I'm ready. So let's do whatever it takes. And I'm just blown away, kind of in a way of our happiness and freedom, or, and I should say also kind of in a way of us being moms. Because I firmly believe that, yes, healthy lifestyle is important and it helps. Yes, it's very good if we treat our body and prepare our body physically on a physical level, so we are strong, we are healthy, we are well. But, a lot, I mean, I don't know, I wouldn't put percentage, but for me personally, and for what I'm seeing, no matter how healthy you live, no matter how much yoga you do, yes, it helps. But what is up here, and deal with those like blockages that you don't know even that it's there. It's like, I can share a couple of them in a minute, but I just want to say, bounce back before I go there, to Fiona, what she said, that it's so important what we are going through as women, because before we become mothers, because everything what we learn on this path before we pop the babies is absolutely crucial for us to not only enjoy the motherhood million times more than ladies who just pop the babies, but also I've got 2 girls now, and I know that if I wouldn't go to the police station after 16 years and stand up for myself as a woman, even though it's a completely crazy thing to do, and I was shaking like this, I know that it was so crucial and such a really important stepping stone, not only for me to clear up whatever crap I had from the past, but also to be the kind of mom that I believe that I can be now for them when they grow up, and when there will be a time to talk about, things about men, about sex, about intimacy. And, it's still far away, but I believe that because of that, I'm much better equipped now as a mom to be that kind of support for them. And these tears, they are really out of kind of amazing appreciation to myself as a woman, and the courage that I had at the time. And I do believe as a woman, we are incredibly strong and incredibly brave. And especially on this journey towards motherhood, we are willing to go through anything and everything, whether it's pain, emotional, physical, and the reward is extraordinary.
Yeah, it is. And you will be rewarded if you believe and you allow yourself to surrender so that you can receive. Then it will take place. And just going back to what you said earlier, God is not here to punish us. The only person that's here to punish us is our mindset. That's the aspect of our personality that we keep limiting ourselves with. There is no one judging or punishing us. It's only ourselves that judge and punish. So we've got to let go of that. These new babies that are coming through with their high vibration do not need to be burdened with this. That's why the mums that are watching this, the mums to be, you're here to be the best version of you, to transmute all this stuff.
Exactly. And I don't know, I have to be careful about how I say this, but in my firm belief is that there are, and this, right? There are very, very special babies being born. And, we can talk, I don't want to go into details about crystal babies and indigo babies and so on. Maybe some of you has heard, but really some incredibly special babies are being born. If I don't mention, because I don't want to talk about my babies, because of course, every mom is blown away by her babies. But you know, I did see even some of my friends' babies who I know they had like really challenging journey towards motherhood. Um, the babies who are born, they got something special in their eyes. They kind of look at you, and you just like the look penetrates, and you just kind of know it's almost like an old person looking at you. It's like so wise. So you know, I had this experience with my little baby with Elianka when she was 3 days old, and I still remember that look. There's something that you feel, even not being a mom of this baby, if you are like a little bit tuned in and intuitive. It's incredible the kind of babies are being born. And I believe that, you know, women who got this a longer journey towards motherhood, there is a very good reason for that. And another, and you know, every baby is special, right? But I do believe that babies who are born to the ladies who don't have such a straightforward journey, you know, God or universe, whatever we call it, is giving them that incredible chance to, like Fiona said, become best version of themselves before they give a birth. And of course the process continues, right? But when these babies are born, they are already, you know, tuned in, so they're able to match these very special souls in terms of their mums, and these very special souls are waiting consciously for these special mums to kind of get to the point where they are ready to receive. And you know, this match actually happens in a physical world, so there is a figure for it. So please, if you're thinking why not, you know, I remember me, right, thinking, girls, and honestly, I'm going to be brutally honest, right, that after 10 years when it's just not happening, I had 4 IVFs, and it was very, very for those who experience or heard something of IVF, you know, it's a very, very intense process for the body and emotionally, mentally, every single way, relationship wise. So I had 4 of them, and after 10 years, you know, when it wasn't happening, I was not nice at times, you know. I you know, feelings of jealousy, feelings of, you know, hatred. I was like, I really looked at other some women, and it wasn't nice thoughts that I thought, you know. I had periods like this. I was thinking, another pregnant bitch, you know. And it's normal. Please forgive yourself.
Thank you for saying that, because it is about unconditional forgiveness. When you have that unconditional love and forgiveness for yourself, and the thing is, it's about owning your emotions, recognizing that you have the emotion, being okay with the emotion. And I teach my clients, you know, the emotion arises, you tell yourself it's okay to feel like this, give yourself a moment, breathe into it, and then literally it dissolves. Emotions only hang around for a maximum of 90 seconds. This is scientifically proven. And then it becomes a habit. So you can feel the emotion, be okay with the emotion. When you literally show up for the emotion, it will dissolve within 30 seconds without you trying. So you don't have to hold these feelings down. And the other key to fertility success is to overcome those feelings of jealousy and hatred when you see they have it, why can't I? That's again putting yourself as a victim. You won't achieve what they've got in that mental space. So it's about going, okay, this is how I feel. I'm going to be okay with these emotions, genuinely okay, forgive myself for feeling it, and then move into raising your vibration by moving into that space of surrender, using meditation, using whatever it takes. I give a lot of tools, and I know you do as well, Lucia. You know, then when you have those tools that you're equipped with, you can genuinely have a different mindset, different heart-based approach, and then you are a magnet because you've helped to bring that baby closer to you. Your baby is resonating in a very high vibrational state, and you need to match that energetic vibration through your emotions. So using your emotional guidance system will help you to be in alignment to receive this baby. And this is another workshop of mine that I go into detail with to help women that because it works, use your emotions, work with the emotions, move into receive mode, and the whole body will come into bloom. But like you say, you've got to really process these things, and it doesn't necessarily happen overnight, and they shouldn't be expecting it to, but to have that knowledge that babies are coming, and I'm open to healing myself and empowering myself. And then in doing so, I know my babies will come. And it's literally like an onion, isn't it? You think that you've peeled away every layer, but then there's another one that comes up and another one.
Yeah. It is also a lot of work with our ego, because
yes,
what is jealousy? What is, she can have it, I can't. Or, those thoughts like, what's wrong with me?
yeah.
I know I had a lot of them. Like, I looked at the pregnant women or at women who got babies, and I was always thinking, what's she's got when I don't have? I've got a bigger boobs. I can feed those babies better. It's crazy stuff that comes through your mind. Like, really talking about frequency, very important to raise the frequency. Like Fiona said, what is also important is, and what helped me hugely after knockdown and another knockdown. So basically, first IVF, we being pregnant, we lost it. Or half, it was like half and half. It was very beginning, but I remember the baby was deciding whether it's coming or not, and it was like 50-50, and then it was no. The second we got pregnant, and it was very traumatic because we went almost all the way through the first trimester, and then I started bleeding. Then we went to the hospital. Baby was healthy, it was fine, so it was just a scare. And then during teaching yoga class, actually then next 2 days, Wednesday morning, early morning, I lost the baby. I finished teaching the class and baby was gone. And then third time, it was in Czech Republic. So we've been doing IVF in different countries, and during the egg retrieval, which normally goes very smoothly and it's not uncomfortable, they put you to sleep, but normally you are not in pain afterwards. I woke up in a lot of pain, and it was not possible to stop it. All the rest of the women left, and my mom got missing. It was all wrong. Like, it was such a I don't want to go into details, but it was very tough time and stressful time, and I was in a lot of pain after I woke up from anesthetics. And then they found out internal bleeding, which they had to stop. So I was like really close, guys. This was my third IVF, and I was thinking to myself, do I really want this baby so much that I'm willing to put my life for it if it need be, because and after that egg retrieval, I kind of was thinking that if God's got a mercy on me, really, girl, I still feel upset about it. You see, I've got 2 amazing babies, but I still get really moved about those times because it's so vivid. After the egg retrieval, I was thinking, God got mercy on me, this time it's going to work. And I remember we had like 7 really healthy embryos on a day 3, I think. So we've been even thinking like, oh my God, if it's more than 2 survive, because you've got a 5-day waiting period, then we can put 2 in, And I remember we came for the transfer on day 5, and doctor sat down with us, and he said, well, out of 7, just 1 survived, and even that one is like so. And I started crying, and I said, and doctor said, can we go and do the transfer? Would you still like to do the transfer with this embryo? And I said, yes, I do, but please give me 5 minutes. And I remember going out of the hospital, sitting down underneath the tree. I needed time on my own. And within a space of 5 minutes, and this is kind of like how powerful the work we do, Fiona, right? There was not more time than that. And within a space of 5 minutes, I was able to somehow, some way, breathe that information through and just kind of turn it around thinking, okay, well, this embryo is 2-3, so it's like kind of medium quality according to whatever scales. But I'm not perfect. We will match. And I kind of turned it around this way, and suddenly I started crying from the gratitude and happiness that I have this imperfect embryo that is going to match me so beautifully. So we done the transfer, and then I went to hear the news, and this time I wanted to be there alone. When I hear the news about you wait then 2 weeks whether you are pregnant or not, and it was the doctor actually at that time who was doing that operation I mentioned to you. That was the same doctor who was giving me the news. And I told him before, like, please be gentle telling me news in case it's not positive news, because this means worlds to me. And I went up to the graveyard where my sister lives. It's a little village, because I was thinking, well, there is nobody and I need that space and I need to be outdoors. So I went to the graveyard, and I heard the news, and this doctor, he forgot about what I asked him about. So he said to me, it's 0, it's nothing, like say HCG, like you're not pregnant, it's 0, sorry. It's not even 1 or 2, it's just 0. And after all that, Fiona, when I heard that, that was like, I just said, I managed to say something like thank you, and I hung up the phone. But the truth is that news and that day, I can't even explain. Like, I didn't want to, I just lied down in between the graves, and I closed my eyes, and I was really praying for God to take me, because I couldn't do it anymore. I just really couldn't. And I said to my husband that this is it, baby. We tried, and we really, really tried. I had 10 years of it, and I really don't have energy. I look like a whale. I put on, 15 kilos. I don't look like a yoga teacher anymore. My body is gone. My mind is like, emotionally, I'm a wreck. And so I just lied down, and I really genuinely, I just surrendered. I think I remember it was very, very quiet in my head. It was just very peaceful, because I was like, please take me so I can be where my babies are who didn't survive. So that was very bottom of the bottom that I hit, girls. And it was May. So where are we now?
2020.
August. So it was May 2 years ago, something more than 2 years ago, when I hit that rock bottom. And it took something. I was actually coaching that same day. I don't know how I done it, 8 o'clock, but I managed to. Interesting thing, the more I was suffering, the more I was able to get angry and really fight for other people. It's an incredible thing. And turn it around eventually for myself as well. But I know that time it took a while. And I remember I spent most of the summer, because that experience kind of taught me that, put me in that space of surrendering. And really, a lot of this journey was ultimately about a trust towards God. And whatever He's doing is absolutely perfect for me. And it's hard to believe it when you don't know whether you're going to be mom, when you are losing everything, when your relationship is on the edge, when you don't even know, like, whether you're not normal anymore, because, there are moments like that when you're thinking you will go crazy. So trust towards God was the most fundamental and crucial. And what helped me personally was actually connection with nature, which was bringing me to connect with myself. And inside of that space, simplifying my life in every single way, to the degree that I created more and more space for those. I'm still very, very grateful, and I have absolutely no doubts about God existing, and actually not only existing, but actually working so beautifully in our lives with such an absolute unconditional love, even though there are times when we absolutely don't understand why he's doing it. And there was a time when I was thinking, I had a lot of conversations with God, and I was thinking, if you think like I've got enough, because I actually do, I'm not sure if I can take it anymore. Can you please just like now just say, okay, well, she had enough, 10 years it was. It's like, really, was it necessary? So I sometimes I turned it into like joke like this. But important thing I want to say, girls, no matter what is happening, please try your best rather than being in that victim mode. What really helped me was to kind of ask myself a right question. And for me, always the right question was kind of version of, what can I learn from this experience? Why is it happening to me? What is God trying to teach me in this moment? What is there for me to learn, to expand as a human being, as
Exactly.
a future mom?
Exactly. And these are very empowered questions. When you're in victim mode and thinking, oh, why me? Why me? You're not going to ask those questions. And you can see your mind shift when you told that doctor before he told you the bad news that you only had 0. Please be gentle with me. You already had that knowing where you'd already made your mind up. It was your biggest fear and you didn't want it to happen, but you already had made your mind up and had the expectation that it was going to be negative news. And that's all that you knew. You only knew negative news. So it was natural for you to think like that. But then when you reached an even lower point, lying in the graveyard, saying to God, please just take me, and then having that stillness in the mind where you were able to internalize, you created peace within, and then you saw peace externally, because the external environment is always mirroring the internal. And I know your story more intimately than you've been able to give in all the little details. And your career was very hectic. You had to make, coaching clients at all hours of the day, and you were exhausted. You were so exhausted, and you didn't even have time to eat properly. You then decided in your mission to really connect once again, to go within and to connect to all aspects of you, to be at one with nature, to see the beautiful abundance of nature, and really connecting to that earth energy so that you could bring these babies forward. Your desire shifted to being that better version of you, even though you weren't fully conscious of it. You were mastering yourself, and you even said, I'm going to leave the UK.
Yeah.
I need to go where there's nature. I need a simpler life.
And I did it.
You did it.
Although my husband didn't agree. I was actually for a year pretty much, without my husband. But my soul needed it so much. It was actually after the graveyard experience when I chose that I need to spend the time on my own. And pretty much there was May, so I had a whole summer ahead of me. I pretty much spent whole summer going to festivals on my own and being in the forest and walking in nature and crying and screaming and just being quiet and just doing whatever I wanted. Like, yeah, I still had my business going, but I had days when I didn't have a client, when I consciously chose just time for myself. And it was miraculous summer. It was so important for me. And I think I done a lot of healing process that summer, because by November we had our 4th IVF, and in spite of my age was much higher than first IVF, and I should have had a worse result and stuff. But because I removed myself from, for me at the time, toxic environment in London, and I chose to be, literally just like wander around and not everybody, I appreciate not everybody can do it. And I didn't think I can do it, because remember, girls, I had my base, I had my husband, I had my clients in London, my yoga classes. It took something to, it was very courageous choice, because I didn't even know at the time whether my husband is going to come to join me. And I was clear, I'm not going back. So, inside of this turmoil, it was very courageous choice. But, I so strongly felt, because the more you start connecting with yourself, the more you know what you need as a woman, as a female. And I'm kind of a little bit like a fairy. I find solstice and peace, and somehow it's me in the forest. So I spend a lot of time in this environment alone. That's another thing, being alone with yourself and learning how to be really happy and comfortable in this space is another, part of the journey. Is it useful what I'm sharing, Fiona?
Very useful, because you're sharing about your movement to self-love. You have to love yourself enough to give that love to your babies.
Yes, yes.
And this is what you were doing. You were just following your intuition. You didn't plan it. You didn't think, hang on, I'm lacking self-love, I need to do these things. It was just, this is what I know is right for me now. And I'm following my bliss and putting my joy first. And what will be will be. And you had that deep inner knowing, but you weren't focusing and strangling that energy anymore. It was just, I'm important too. My life, my joy is important. My health, my sanity, my connection with nature, being my natural self will allow my body to become fertile again, will activate that fertility, because you're around fertility. You've got a fertile mindset.
And it happened. It was incredible, because, November, yes, these babies are IVF babies, but, November, I had the best result I ever had in my entire life. And that's why we had three very healthy embryos, but we chose to put 2 in, and touch wood, they've been very healthy. And, I carried them 38 plus 5, which is quite a long pregnancy, and they've been born in with a fantastic weight. If I'm very honest, I was so fed up about talking and thinking about babies. That was so long time and so much heartbreak that I was like, I just couldn't, I was like, I remember just me thinking, like, all I want is just to be happy now. Like, I'm just so need. And I started seeking anything and everything what makes me just a little bit happy. One step at a time, because I was so low. Just one thing at a time. And I started, with small little step, like, I'm just going to, have this egg and just actually enjoy this egg and taste, see what it tastes like, silly things. And so I started, this journey, like being happy now and being happy as a woman with or without babies.
Exactly. That is the key. That is always the key. I'm happy and I'm satisfied now, with or without. The babies are a bonus. And when you get into that mindset, babies want to come.
Babies want to come because they want you, and it's not conditional. I can't really say that I in any point I reach the stage like I don't have to have a babies, I'm completely blissful for the rest of my life. No, it's bullshit. Of course I wanted the babies, and I always want to have a babies. Now they said to me, oh, you've got 2, you're sorted. I know, I'm like open to have more babies if God will give me when time is right, after girls are a little bit older. I'm totally open and abundant, even if I'm 45. So what? Like, and it's like, oh, you want a boy? It's like, no, I want whatever God will, serve me, I will receive with gratitude. And if it's not meant to be, then that's perfect too. So it's this kind of attitude of absolute gratitude, and just please remembering that this journey is so precious that you are going through. I know it's tough. I know it's extremely draining. I know it's frustrating, and sometimes you are angry, sometimes you want to cry. It's normal, it's perfectly normal. But it's also one of the greatest gifts, girls, you can ever receive in your life, if you choose to accept and process it that way. Everything happens for a reason, and really it's not just the saying, but it's just perfect plan. And once you have those babies, like now I see why my pregnancy didn't happen earlier. There is a really good reasons which I only now starting to see. after years. So that's why that huge trust towards something that you believe in your heart, whether it's God or universe, like keep that going, and trust that you are being looked after no matter what, and there is, you know, so much love coming to you from up there, no matter whether you are up or down. There is always continuous flow of love if you only open a little bit to see it at all.
Beautiful words of wisdom to finish on then. It's so true. It's so, so true, isn't it? When you have that opening where you are allowing some love to flow and you change your perspective to see the love, to see the support, even when you don't feel it and in reality it doesn't seem it, you have that inner knowing and you keep that spark alive. And like you were mentioning, we do have sacred contracts, and sometimes a miscarriage can be misinterpreted in this lifetime where you've done something wrong as the mum, but that's not the case. You haven't done anything wrong. It was the contract that you had, and that child chose to live just for that amount of time in your womb to experience life on earth in the protection of your womb, with your personality, with your blood, and to feel what you're feeling. Because remember, in the first 2 years when you have your children, they are still sharing your energy field. So you have that beautiful bond, you have that covenant. And there are many books that you can read on. It's not just us making this up. It's not science as we know it, but it is a science that we do have covenants with our children. Mothers have a covenant. There are sacred contracts in place, and you will give birth to your happy, healthy babies when they choose. And they've already chosen you, and it's such a privilege and an honor, like Lucia was saying, when they have chosen you, and you are literally just clearing the way to be the best version of you. You don't have to be perfect. You just need to open to those fundamental truths that you are an extension of God. You have the ability to create the world that you want to create. Your external environment is reflecting your internal, and with the inner knowing and with putting yourself into that state of forgiveness and unconditional love, you will create your happy, healthy babies. This is the recipe for fertility.